If you are into games, you have seen the rise in popularity of the casino roguelikes in the past few years. The outstanding success of Balatro in 2024 has spurred an evolution of games that are inspired by slot machines and dice games. Games like Dicey Dungeon, Slots and Daggers, and Buckshot Roulette have become popular releases, and even more games are coming in the future, with upcoming releases like 𝕬𝕬𝕗 and Blackjacket. But today, we're not talking about any of those. We're talking about CloverPit. CloverPit is yet another game that pulls at the gambling itch and turns it into a literal death game where you must win big or die trying. Quoted as a demonic love child of Balatro and Buckshot Roulette, you are locked away in a cell, forced to rely on a slot machine for life. You either have to pay off your ever-rising debt or fall into a never-ending pit. The first thing we're going to focus on today is obviously the slot machine. Starting with a normal slot machine, you will have to cash out enough money to pay off an ever-growing debt known as a deadline. You will begin each run with 30 coins and you will need to end with 75 in 3 turns to survive your first deadline. If you survive this first deadline, then you will need to get 200 for your second. Each deadline will raise your debt substantially, so you will need to find ways to manipulate your payouts. This is where charms come in. So let's take a quick intermission to talk about the charm shop. Given 3 rounds per deadline, you have 2 options every time you go to the slot machine. One option, you will get 7 spins and 1 ticket. In the other, you will get 3 spins and 2 tickets. Now, 90% of the time, I personally like to push for more spins, more chances to get money, but each round needs to be looked at very strategically. So now that you have some tickets, let's take a look at the actual charms available. There are over 150 charms available, and even though most of them need to be unlocked, the starting charms are nothing to scoff at. For some low-cost starters, I really like the peppers. They will trigger randomly and increase your luck stat. And luck is actually a critical stat here. Your luck stat is directly correlated with your chance of finding a pattern in your next spin. Now, each charm will fall between some kind of rarity between common and ultra legendary, and the cost will reflect that. Now, there are 2 ways I personally like to look at charms. I view them as setup and action items. Setup items help me set up to get big payouts. I try and go for large combos. Think cat food that gives 2 extra spins, stonks that increase your interest by 5%, and the crowbar that gives 3 free shop refreshes. More spins and free restocks might seem like a far better deal than increasing your interest, especially since you start out so little, only getting about 3 or 4 coins per interest round. But this is huge if you look longevity-wise. In the long run, interest can really make or break a tight round. It might almost seem useless to have stonks early on, but the further you get into deadlines, you can actually be getting paid hundreds of thousands, sometimes even millions of coins. Now, pair your high interest with the lucky cat charm that if you hit 3 patterns, you get to add on your interest, and you will be flying through deadlines. Now, this can lead to the debate of should you pay off your deadline early or should you keep going until the very last second in order to try and get more coins. Now, when a deadline is in progress, a board next to the ATM will show a reward that you'll receive if you finish the deadline in that round. Now, one thing to keep in mind is each round you use the slot machine instead of fully pay off your debt, the reward will decrease. Now, the question arises, do you pay off your debt early to get those tickets, get good charms, and bump up your synergy? Or would you rather play it safe, you like the charms you have, and continue to use the last round or 2 that you have to get as much money as possible and maybe go for a mystery box? There are so many nice charms that having only 7 slots for them might seem too few. Luckily, there are 2 ways to increase the amount of slots you have. The easiest would be to get the telephone option that just freely increases 1 slot space. But we're not to the telephone section of this episode yet, so we'll come and touch back on that more. Just know that it exists. And as you have probably figured out, the other way to increase your slots is by getting charms. The Make Space charm will give you 2 charm slots, but it does take up 1, so it's not super great. Now, the one that is the big deal is the Cardboard House. Now, this one, it does not take up space and it gives you a free slot, and probably the best part is it can reappear in your shop later on. Now, moving on to what I categorize as action items, these essentially set up more of how you're going to play. You can focus on increasing the value of lower valued symbols such as the fruits, or you can work on trying to get a high chain pattern and have the pattern itself increase in value. The game tells you to find synergies or else you're not going to pass each deadline. Really, trying out different combinations is where the fun happens in the game. Pairing the little star that guarantees an XL pattern if you didn't score the last turn with the painkiller that if you only get one pattern, updates it to the most valued symbol, works extraordinarily well if you can continue to raise that symbol's value. You can use charms like the gold modifier of the symbol to increase the base value, or you can go for charms like stain that increases pattern value each time a 4+ pattern is triggered. Myself and a lot of other CloverPit players have actually discovered that fruit is not only good for starving off scurvy, but also for hitting your deadlines. I love the combination of the fruit bowl that has each fruit trigger twice, the Lucky Cat charm, and one of the charms that will increase one of the fruit's chances of appearing on your screen. This is a prime example of CloverPit's charm, pun not intended, allowing you to make anything and everything work, as long as you have charms that have synergy. Even the least valuable symbol is worth focusing on in a run. Now, with so many charms, it can become overwhelming. Do you prioritize getting spins, grab the cat food, and fake coin? What about trying to increase the amount of interest you get each round so you aim for stonks in grandma's purse to give you the most guaranteed money each round? The best thing I've discovered is to just accept what the store is giving you. Even if you go into a round trying to play more towards lucky sevens, but the shop keeps giving you stuff related to clovers, you should just pivot and go for clovers. We've already discussed how every symbol, despite the initial value, can be profitable, and to unlock those over 150 charms, you're going to have to play with every single setup imaginable, so even if the round might not go the way you want, you can actually probably unlock something really good for a future run. The charm unlocks are all tied to unlocking drawers, dying, getting out of the room, or simply using charms that you already have unlocked. Now, this is great because, like we've just said, no one angle is the right way to play, and you will have to do all the strategies if you want to go for a 100% in this game. Now, drawers are really important, so let's take a minute to touch on them. Now that you understand charms and you're ready to jump in, there are a few things you'll want to do before you actually try to get out of your prison cell. Step 1 is to open the 4 drawers that are underneath your charm shop. All 4 keys will appear in individual runs, and they will appear further and further down the deadlines. The drawers allow you to place 1 charm in them, and it essentially pauses the effect and gives you another space. I use the drawers a lot whenever I want to get through a limited use charm, but also have a backup for when that is dead and I have an empty slot. The best part about the drawers is that they cost nothing to use. You don't have to pay to put anything in it or re-equip it to a charm slot. And in a game that makes you pay for literally everything, this is a pretty nice perk. The one downside to the charms is the shelf life. If you leave any charms in the drawers and then fail your run, you will come back to find corpse parts. Now, this might seem disgusting, but it can actually be a good thing and help lead you to salvation. Once all the normal keys are unlocked and you have use of all 4 drawers, the gold key that you would normally see transforms into a skull key, and this is how you unlock the main door. The skull key is the key to your freedom, but this is also where the game ramps up its difficulty. You need to equip 4 corpse parts and a skull. Now, the skull is unlocked when you find your first corpse part, and it will randomly show up in your shop. So is the challenge getting all 5 pieces at once? No. That might just be the easiest part. All you have to do is place 4 random charms into the drawers before you die on a previous run, and then you'll come back to all the drawers being filled with corpses. But you do have to equip all 4 before the end of the first deadline, or else they dispose of themselves. Still not sounding like a super hard challenge? Well, take into consideration that each corp piece adds 5% to your debt. So that means to get the skull key, you'll actually be needing to pay off a debt 25% higher than a normal run. Now, I did have a run to where at the end of one deadline, I was able to pay off the next 2 deadlines right away. And so I got 2 mystery boxes and a prompt to pay off the next deadline and get the skull key. Granted, that was one of the bad endings, but it's an ending no less, and it still pops the achievement, the structure, for escaping the room. Now let's talk on something that I've mentioned in passing but haven't really explained, and that is the mystery boxes and phone calls. Now, what is a mystery box and how do you get one? When you complete a deadline and have enough coins to pay off the entirety of the following deadline, the ATM will prompt you asking if you would like to do so in exchange for a reward. That reward is a mystery box. This will give you 3 cards that you can use at the start of a run, and it will give you 1 positive trait and 1 negative trait. Now, examples include throughout the run, the store will only have 3 charms instead of 4. However, you'll start every deadline with 2 free restocks. And 666 has twice the normal appearance rate. Whenever you hit a jackpot, all coins lost to 666 during that round are refunded. The main issue that I have with these cards is that they are consumables. So if you only have 1 copy of a card, you use it and die before deadline 1, the card is essentially wasted, and you will have to try and hope you get another version of that card in your next mystery box. This makes 100%ing CloverPit super challenging because one of the achievements for it is to turn all your mystery cards rainbow holographic. And to do that, you now have to win with that card on hard mode. Now, a bit of lore here. When the game initially launched, to get the rainbow holographic, you just had to play that card 3 times in normal mode. You would turn it silver, then gold, then rainbow. In patch 1.2, that was changed to where now you have to use the card to be in normal and it'll turn to gold. Then it allows you to play with it in hard mode, and that is where you can win and turn it rainbow holographic. And when this happens with all of your cards, you will get the Lord of the Pit achievement. And with patch 1.2, meaning you have to play it on hard difficulty, meaning it doubles your debt. This just made this challenge a lot harder. Now, moving on to the telephone. Every time you complete a deadline, you will get a call from the phone on the wall. The phone will offer you 3 choices depending on the mode the phone is in. Now, the base phone call will give you a positive trait, like adding a charm slot. The red phone that occurs when you hit a 666 or on special rounds like I believe 3 and 7 will give you a positive and a negative trait, such as double the amount of coins you have but set your ticket amount to 0. And one mode that you have to work a little magic to prompt is the sacred phone. You have to reject the red phone calls 3 times, and on the 4th time you answer it and the sacred phone is on the other line. This offers a very powerful positive trait, like increasing the symbol multiplier by 3. Now, phone options have made a run, and they should not be overlooked. There have been runs to where because of the phone I've gotten the last pattern to trigger twice, which automatically activates my lucky cat charm, and making me rich enough to where the game was nothing but good. And there have been runs to where I didn't like any of the options and just decided to put the phone back on the hook. Just like everything else in this game, it comes down to RNG. Now, what is my verdict? I enjoy a good run in this game, and I've gotten to the point where bad runs can be felt from the start. I've been able to strategize and reap the benefits of taking risks. Big numbers and super mega jackpots have given me the dopamine rush that I will never get because I do not have the urge to go to a real casino and spend my real money. With no story and a challenge that people either destroy quickly or get hardwalled with, this game seems like one that people will either love or hate after about 10 hours. All the achievements make this a challenge for me to figure out when to put down and feel satisfied. I've made it out, but got a bad ending. I should just finish the game by getting the good ending, but so many of the achievements look fun to try to tackle. So do I go for 100%? The one achievement that might kill me is the Lord of the Pit. I've already had a tough time trying to clear stages as is, so having the requirement to beat them at double the deadline seems impossible to me. I do think that this game is one that many people will play, love, but not complete. Like a lot of other games that have given me arcade vibes with a pick up, play around, and put down type of gameplay, I think the game has earned a solid 4 out of 5 stars from me. It has enough content to be satisfying and a difficulty curve that is identical to everyone. Because this is based on manipulating RNG, there's actually no strategy that you can implement and aim for each time. You can aim for certain items and perks, yes, 100%, but those are based on RNG if you get them at all. You also have to get a certain number of tickets in order to purchase them in the shop, so 2 random things that are challenging to do need to line up perfectly. So basically, RNG is going to make it to where it's going to be very difficult to have 2 rounds be identical. You can't go and replicate a certain method. If you do need that rush of dopamine that a jackpot brings but have no money because you spent it all on video games, jump on CloverPit and save yourself from bankruptcy. And that is all I really have to say on CloverPit. I thought it was pretty solid. It was kind of a new game for me and I did enjoy my time with it, even if it was sometimes frustrating when I lost big time, and that made me lose my deadline and die. But so is RNG roguelites. So let me know in the comments below, did you like CloverPit? Have you played it? Or were you just looking for someone to validate whether or not you wanted to get it off your wishlist or never put it on there in the first place? Let me know what your favorite casino roguelite is, because these are honestly sometimes kind of fun. But that is all I have for you this week on this episode of Pixel Journey, and if you liked this episode, give me a thumbs up to let me know I did a good job. And if you did like the video, click on the channel and search around, and if you like some videos, maybe hit subscribe so don't lose me in the sea of YouTube content. I primarily talk about indie games on this channel, but we do like to branch out every now and then, so I do take suggestions if you have a game that you would like me to try out and give my thoughts on. But with that, I will leave you to have a lovely rest of your day wherever you are, and I hope to see you in a future video. Bye guys!